Hello everybody! Happy day 3 of meal prep like a badass. I can't believe we're already halfway through the week. This is crazy. And I'm super excited to really dive in and show you exactly what I do each week. How I sit down, how I figure out what we're gonna eat, how I make sure everything that we're eating is balanced and accounted for, how I make my grocery list, etc., etc. So I was going to save my announcement, my big announcement for the end of tonight's video, but it actually makes more sense for me to just do it at the beginning. Hey April, hey Jennifer. Oh, I've never called you Jennifer. I will never do that again. Hey JP. That was really weird. Anyways, so this announcement sort of really needs to come at the beginning. So for those of you that are new around here or new to me, I am a health and fitness coach. I run groups like these pretty much once a month. And then I also have an online accountability group for my clients, people who are paying me to coach them. And so some of you in this group are those people, and some of you in this group are not. And so I wanted to announce that my April Badass Bootcamp is starting technically April 2nd. April 1st is Easter, so ain't nobody got time for that, right? But I am opening up my April Badass Bootcamp on March 29th. Okay, so in order to join that April Badass Bootcamp, where we are focusing solely the entire month on food, right? That's not to say that you can't be doing your own workouts and working on hydration and doing all these other things, but April's focus is really going to be on food, which includes meal planning and meal prepping. In order to join that group, I have a special for you guys. For being in this group, for being a part of this challenge, I am offering up a meal prep kickstart kit. So as a part of that kit, you will get the portion containers that I use to portion all of my food when I'm prepping, right? So that includes the dinners that I cook fresh every night, as well as all of my meal prep on Sunday. I use these containers. There are 6 of them. And I'll explain a little bit more about these tonight that I use each week to prep my meals. You'll also get a shaker cup. If you don't drink Shakeology, you can totally just drink your water out of this, and it's a really good way to work on your water consumption. 3 of these a day is a really solid amount of water. In addition, you're gonna get my meal plan / grocery list template. That's the template that I'm gonna be using with you guys tonight. You can print it out if you'd like and do pen and paper. You can use it electronically if you'd like. I'm gonna send you the link to the Google Doc. So if you're more of a techie person, you can use it that way. If you wanna print it out, you can use it that way. And then you're also gonna get access to my April Badass Bootcamp. That is a place where I show up every single day with motivation, tips, tricks, all sorts of different things. I share the foods that I'm eating. I share all sorts of motivational quotes and answer questions. This is really where you get access to me one-on-one. You can ask me questions anytime. You can post questions into the group and get them answered for sure. So this is a place, where you can really dive in and be concentrated and focused on your meal planning, on your meal prepping, on your food consumption, and get that support from me as your coach. You also get one-on-one weekly check-ins from me. So that's our time, whether it's, via Facebook Messenger or text message if you prefer, or email if you prefer, or we can do a Zoom call, which is basically just a video chat on the computer. Whatever works for you, you get access to me one-on-one for 30 minutes once a week. So you get all of that in your meal prep kickstart kick for $39.50. I am offering this through Sunday. So if you join by Sunday, I will also throw in my 5-day clean eating menu. So I will give you a menu for 5 days of clean eating for free, right? So you have until Sunday to join us. Again, I will list all of those things and I'll make an additional post after tonight's broadcast. But for $39.50, you get everything that I just listed. The containers, the shaker, you get me for an entire month in my group, as well as those one-on-one weekly check-ins. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and I'll drop the link later. I'm gonna drop a link in the comments that you can fill out with some information, and then I'll go ahead and get you the invoice that you need to complete that after you have filled out that form. But I'm not gonna post it in the comments just yet because I don't wanna lose you guys. I want you guys to stay focused on what we're doing right here. Oh goodness, Petaluma police. Oh, okay, somebody's missing. Oh, makes me terrified. Okay, anyways, so I want to dive right in, right? I want to answer people's questions. And so here's the thing. Most times I get questions like, how do you know how much food you need, right? How do you know which foods to buy? How do you not like buy way too much food or not enough food or whatever? And here's the thing. When you first start, it's probably going to be a shit show, quite honestly, right? But it's a learning experience, okay? You may end up with too much food. You may end up with not enough food. I would rather you end up actually with not enough food and have to make a second trip to the store versus buying way too much food and then it all goes bad, right? And if you're like me, I don't really like to freeze things. Aside from meat, it's not really my jam. So I'm going to tell you how I make sure that we buy exactly what we need, or at least as close to it as possible. And I'm really just going to dive in and start walking you through it. So why I needed to make that announcement at the beginning is this. I use these portion containers to prep. And so you're gonna hear me say things like, I need to have a vegetable, or I need to have another carb, or I need to have a fruit, right? And you're thinking to yourself, how do you know that, right? Well, it's because I follow a food plan. I follow a portion controlled food plan that tells me exactly what I need to eat, how much of each food group I need to eat every single day. So I went ahead and created an example list for you that we're gonna work off of, okay? So I'm just gonna explain this list to you. I know that this is probably backwards. I'm sorry, I can't write backwards, so just take my word for it. This is an example plan of what you will get when you purchase this meal prep kickstart kit. It's gonna have a formula for you to do. You're gonna put in your weight, you're gonna do this calculation, and it's gonna tell you exactly how much food you should be consuming. It'll give you like a calorie range, but then it's gonna tell you exactly how much of each food group you should consume. So I chose the middle one to use as our example today. I've actually never been in Plan C. I've only ever been in Plan B or Plan A. So this is actually more food than I have ever eaten, but Plan C is pretty common and where most people would start. It's an 1,800 to 2,099 calorie diet. So most people base their calorie consumption on a 2,000 calorie diet. You figure nutrition facts, if you know anything about those nutrition labels, they're based on a 2,000 calorie diet. Most people, when they say, oh, I'm going to watch what I'm eating, or I'm going to start eating healthy, or whatever, right? That typically means I'm going to start counting my calories. People try to do like, oh, I'm just going to eat, 1,200 calories. One, that's not enough calories for any human being ever. So stop doing that. Not eating enough food is going to make you hold on to fat, okay? So a lot of people, when they get started on this portion control system, it's way more food than they're used to eating, but you're going to lose weight because you're fueling your body, right? So I created just this example for you guys from Plan C. So when I'm prepping, I know exactly how many containers I need to eat per day. So when we're planning tonight and I'm doing this example plan for you, our goal is to have 5 servings of vegetables a day. I don't know if you guys can read that. 3 fruits, 5 proteins, 4 carbohydrates, 1 healthy fat, 1 seeds and dressings, and then 5 oils or nut butters. So I'm going to be referring to this several times throughout the night. Because that's what I'm going off of, right? That's how I know what to eat. That's how I know what foods to choose. You're also gonna get a list of foods to choose from. Clean foods, clean, healthy foods. So you know exactly what foods you can eat and what foods you cannot eat. There's not a category for Oreos and Doritos, unfortunately, right? But those aren't food, so probably not surprising, right? So using this meal prep sheet, okay, 7 days, I have breakfast, snacks, lunch, and dinner, and then I have Sunday through Saturday, okay? And you're gonna notice that I added to this printout, I have all these little dots right here, okay? I have just taken the numbers that I just read to you. Sorry, my hand's so shaky, I don't know why it's so shaky. And I put little dots. So I have 5 greens, I have 3 purples, I have 5 reds, 4 yellows, 1 blue, 1 orange, and 5 teaspoons, right? Because I know I get that many containers every single day. So let's dive into it, okay? Starting with breakfast, I always start with breakfast. It's the easiest meal of the day for me. Why? Because I drink Shakeology. If you guys have questions, absolutely drop them in the comments and I'll try to read them as we go, or I'll come back to them at the very end, okay? So I start with Shakeology because it's the easiest meal of the day for me. It's always the same, right? Typically, it's a scoop of Shakeology, it's a banana or spinach, right? So I know those containers are gonna stay the same every single day. So one of the tips I have for you, if you're not super sure, right, and you don't wanna like really commit to writing on your meal plan, if you get a little Post-it note, a little sticky note, right? So I've just written on here, Shakeo, banana, and spinach. I'm also gonna put a little PB2 in my shake, okay? Or peanut butter, whatever you guys prefer. I write it in the colors of the container. So I know that I'm using a red, a purple, a green, and a teaspoon. Super simple, right? And then you can take your sticky note and you can just put it on your meal plan, okay? Now I'm gonna have the same breakfast every single day. Without question, I drink my shake every day, right? So I know on my little tally sheet here on this side that I can cross off a red. I just put a line through it. I can cross off a purple, I can cross off a green, and I can cross off a teaspoon, okay? So I've used now 4 of my containers for one meal. Moving on. It's a balanced, pretty balanced meal, right? It's a protein, it's a fruit, it's a vegetable, and then a nut butter, okay? And that's containers that I have to use throughout the day. Then I move on, okay? Now, my suggestion is to move on to your meal that you're gonna prep, okay? And that always for me is lunches. So let's say, for example, I want to have one of my clients' absolute favorite recipes that I have shared with them and most of them make is a cheeseburger salad, okay? It sounds weird and it sounds weird. I get it, right? But basically it's lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles, everything you would have on a burger, on a cheeseburger. It's ground turkey, it's shredded cheese, and the dressing is either Thousand Island dressing or ketchup and mustard. I know it sounds weird, but it tastes exactly like a cheeseburger. So let's say that's what you want to prep for lunches all week. It's also something very simple to prep. You can prep it, put it in a mason jar, shake it up, and eat it right out of the mason jar. That's something I'll be sharing also in our April Badass Boot Camp, is just different favorite recipes of mine, and this is one of them. So let's say, for example, that's what you're gonna have, okay, for lunches. So I'm gonna take my little slip of paper and I'm gonna write cheese, burger, salad, right? So cheese is a healthy fat, that's a blue container. Burger, I would use ground turkey, but you can use ground beef if that's what you wanna do. And then salad is green, and I'm gonna use 2 greens worth between my lettuce and my tomatoes and my onions. I'm gonna use 2 of these containers. So I just put an extra dot down there to tell me that I'm using 2. And then I'm also going to put some croutons in there because why not, right? So I also put a little yellow dot down there. Sorry it's so weird that I'm having to shove this in your face, but at least you can see it, right? So I'm gonna put that right on my meal plan under lunch, right? And then I'm gonna cross out those containers. So I'm gonna cross out the blue container. I'm gonna cross out a red container. I'm gonna cross out a yellow. I'm gonna cross out 2 greens and a teaspoon for my dressing. Okay, so I'm just crossing those off so I know what containers I have left. Now, personally, I eat 2 snacks per day. I have a morning snack and then I have an afternoon snack. I just like to eat all day long, right? If you don't have time for 2 different snacks, you're probably gonna have to eat more food in your 3 meals, right? Versus spreading it out. And you're gonna see right now when we finish planning just this one day, how much food this is in comparison to maybe how much food you're not consuming right now. And maybe that's why you're not reaching maybe your goals, okay? So then I move on to snacks. I actually leave dinner for the very last meal that I prep. That's how we're doing it right now. It may work better for you because there are so many other factors in dinner. You have a husband who maybe cares about what's for dinner. You have children that maybe care about what's for dinner. The rest of your meals you're probably consuming alone, and so you can just kind of do whatever you want. But dinner's sort of a big one where like your husband doesn't like broccoli, or you know, your wife doesn't like asparagus. And so obviously you're not going to choose to make that if that's something that the whole family is eating, right? So you can do dinner first and then do lunch second. It's totally up to you, whichever one makes more sense for you to plan first, and then have fewer containers to pull from for the other meal, right? But I move on to dinner, okay? So let's say on Monday we're gonna have tacos, okay? So I decide we like tacos. We're gonna have them on Monday because I don't have to just eat tacos on Tuesday. I can eat Monday tacos too. Whatever, I do what I want, right? So I'm gonna have tacos. Tacos are on tortillas. Tortillas are a yellow container because they're a carb. We're gonna have chicken tacos. We're gonna have them with peppers. And what else did I write on there? Oh, and we're gonna have refried beans as well. Those are a yellow. I know people think that beans are a protein, but there's also a lot of carbs in beans, so they're a carb, unfortunately. So I'm gonna write that down, right? Or I'm gonna stick it down on my meal plan, okay? So now I'm not super committed to anything. It's just sticking on there. I haven't written it down. It's not set in stone. I don't have to erase it off. You know, it's just there for a second. I'm gonna mark off the containers that we're using, okay? So that's 2 more yellows. That's a teaspoon. That's a protein and a veggie, okay? So let me show you what containers I have left. Okay, I have a teaspoon. I have 2 teaspoons. I have 2 teaspoons left. I have an orange container left. I have I shouldn't have an orange left, actually. This dressing should have been orange. Okay, I have a carb left. I have some proteins left. I have a veggie left. I have 2 fruits left, which is awesome because I like to snack on fruit because it's sweet and it's delicious, right? So now I have snacks left, and snacks are the easiest things to just fulfill your containers with, right? Because you're just snacking anyway. So snacks can be like really random odds and ends things, right? So here are the snacks that are typically a go-to for me, okay? The first one is cottage cheese with peaches and carrots. And then I'm also gonna have a teaspoon of peanut butter. Totally random, but fulfills so many different containers. It fulfills a red, it fulfills a purple, it fulfills a green, and it fulfills one of my teaspoons, right? So there it is. But maybe, right, I need to eat more food because I still have containers there. So my second snack for the day is gonna be boiled eggs, apple, and crackers. Okay, that's a pretty basic snack, right? So that fulfills my last red container. It fulfills my last yellow container. It fulfills my last purple container. Like I said, that dressing over there was supposed to be an orange, so that one's out. Okay? So if we look at this, this is just 1 day's worth of food. Okay? I'm gonna have my Shakeology for breakfast with a banana and spinach and some PB2. Then for my first snack of the day, I'm gonna have cottage cheese with peaches. I'm gonna have some carrots, and I'm gonna have just a spoon of peanut butter. Something sweet to finish it off with. Then for lunch, I'm gonna have my cheeseburger salad where I'm gonna have cheese, I'm gonna have ground turkey, I'm gonna have lettuce, tomato, pickle, onion, anything else vegetable-wise you like to have on a burger, and I'm also gonna have that with some croutons. Then for my afternoon snack, I'm gonna have 2 boiled eggs, an apple, and some crackers. And then for dinner, I'm gonna have chicken tacos with peppers and a side of refried beans. That's all of my containers. That's all of the food that I get on Plan C to eat all day long. So some of you, I'm curious, those of you still watching, I'm curious, does that seem like a lot of food? Does that seem like a little amount of food? I'm just, trying to gauge what that is in comparison to like maybe what you're eating right now. Now for me, when I'm planning, I'll be honest with you, and I'm going to show you exactly what I would do to make my life a lot easier. And this is how I plan each week. That Shakeology is going to be the same every single day of the week. Those snacks will be the same every single day of the week. That lunch will be the same every single day of the week. The only thing that changes in my world is dinners. And those are made fresh every night and always something different. We rarely have something twice in 1 week, unless it makes a lot of leftovers, which we just don't cook that way anymore. We hardly even crock pot anymore because it makes so many leftovers. And that just doesn't work with the meal plan that we're currently following. So we just haven't been doing it that way. But that being said, right, you don't have to eat the same thing every single day. You could plan a second lunch option, right? Or whatever dinner you're creating here, okay, you could double it and have leftovers so that you don't have to eat cheeseburger salad every single day. You can eat cheeseburger salad 3 times instead of 5 or 6, right? You can plan an entirely different meal, okay? So let's say we're gonna have we don't wanna have cheeseburger salad every day. That sounds boring, right? So I wanna have a different meal for lunch. So I'm gonna have sausage with potatoes, onions, and peppers. It's gonna be a red, a yellow, and 2 greens, right? So I'm gonna put that down here. The only thing that's different about, these 2 meals, right, is the cheese. So now I just know that I can have cheese on whatever I'm having for dinner, right? So when you do this and you do it over and over and over again, it becomes very easy, right? It's like, I need this, so I'm gonna eat this, cross it off. I need this, so I'm gonna eat this, cross it off, until you complete your containers for the day. And quite honestly, when you first start this, you might go over in containers, or you might be under in containers, right? It's a learning experience. You're not going to be perfect the first day, the first week, maybe not even the first month. But as you get a hang of it, right? I don't even have to look at my containers anymore as far as like knowing how many I have. Like I don't even have to tally. I just know. Like I get this many yellows. I know that, right? I don't have to look at anything. I don't have to keep track. I just know, but I'm 2 years in, right? So if you're starting fresh, you're gonna have to pay attention to it. It's just like anything else, right? You're gonna have to start slow. You're gonna have to be gentle with yourself. You're gonna have to give yourself some wiggle room. It is a learning process, okay? Be gentle with yourselves. This is something new unless you've been doing it for a long time. All right, let me see. I see you guys are commenting, questioning, etc. Do you split your containers, such as your salad has croutons, would be a yellow? Do you fill it all the way, or do half and half, or something else yellow later? So that's entirely up to you. If you don't want to have an entire yellow of croutons, get my yellow container out of here. If you don't want to have an entire yellow of croutons, then don't. When I do that, and I don't, typically I would put 2 X's through these, so I'll do a big one so you guys can see. So if this were the dot, of course you asked me about a yellow, but let me do a yellow dot up here. If this were the dot, okay, and I were marking them off as I was going, if I only use half of a container, I just do 1 line through. If I use the whole container, I do 2 lines through, right? So that's an easy way to track if you only used a half. You know what we end up using a half of a lot is the blue container. because here's what goes in blues. Here's what goes in my blue. Cheese and avocado. That's it, right? Right now I've been eating hummus. Oh, such a sad way to use a blue container. I do not like hummus. But if you only use half of a container, right, you can split it definitely in between however many meals you want to split it. Most people, right, get enough containers that you don't have to split them, but you certainly can if you want to. As much as I'm eating now in Plan C. I like the cheeseburger salad idea. Good, I'm glad, Meeks. Candace, I don't know what you were referring to by a lot. Lindsay is sold. So, I mean, this is really how I do it, you guys. And I think it's really helpful to use the color-coded markers, right? It's probably super silly, but like I just like to have pretty things. And here, I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't use this piece of paper, and I will show you exactly what I use. I bought this at Michael's craft store. Okay, it's a Create 365. And this is where I do all of my meal planning. And here's what's cool about this, and this is a huge tip. Do not throw away your meal plans, okay? Once you've created this, okay, and if you commit to these little sticky things, you can certainly write them on this piece of paper. You don't have to just use the little stickies. But once you've created this, hang this on your refrigerator so you know exactly what's happening all week long. And then, right, save it. Do not throw it away, because if you have a week where you don't have time to sit down and plan, right, you just grab this and go, right? You got a plan. You already made it. You did it 6 weeks ago, but who gives a shit, right? You can just grab this. On the second page of this meal plan, which you'll get the template to if you purchase the meal prep kickstart kick, right, is the grocery list. So when I'm prepping, okay, and I'm like, yep, I'm going to do Shakeology, I'm going to do a banana, and I'm going to do spinach. I go straight to my grocery list and I say, I need bananas. Well, how do I know how many I need? I'm only having bananas in my shake. You're going to get a list of foods, and it's going to tell you exactly how much is a purple container. It's either half of a large banana or a full small banana, right? So you need 7 shakes, you need 7 bananas. I write bananas, 7, right? Then I need spinach for my shake. I'm gonna write spinach. I know that I need 7 cups of spinach. Now, fun fact, a bag of spinach will give you more than 7 cups of spinach. It will give you plenty. So you just need 1 bag. And you'll learn these things as you're going through, right? So I just make my list. Bananas, spinach. Next, what do I need? I need cottage cheese, okay? And fun fact, I can tell you exactly right now what these measurements are. This is a cup. This is a cup. This is 3/4 of a cup. This is a half of a cup. This is a 1/4 of a cup. I have zero idea what this is. I don't know. Whatever. I hardly ever use it. It's mostly for dressings, and you guys know how I feel about salads. Those of you who are